this afternoon? Is there a meeting this afternoon?
It's 10 o'clock exactly.
Okay, just a second.
I don't know where the remote is. Okay.
When's the first snow going to be here?
Haven't looked for it in the office. No, I'll just text them.
I hope it doesn't.
Do you think you had it here?
No, over there.
Yeah, okay.
And you didn't notice it.
That was your transmitter and receiver.
No, it's doing somewhere.
I know, it just grows on trees. Everybody's got it.
Quiet on set. 10:01.
Well, call to order the meeting of the Board of Commissioners for November 21st, 2024, 10 o'clock. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
approval of the minutes for November 14th.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain because I was not here. Do you have a signature one, Melissa, or you just want us to do one?
I do. Just found it, yes. Signature copy there.
Accounts payable for November 20th, $342,233.86. Payroll for November 21st, $227,156.91.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm gonna sign this. Let's get that one. Okay, we will recess to go into Hale's location for the Selectmen's meeting.
10:02.
And the only thing that's on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the 14th of November.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
And I will abstain because I was not present. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 Madam Chair, we're going to have public comment. We're not aligned here, will
Oh, yep, that's okay, you'll do it. Was hoping you wouldn't even notice that. Okay, so that's this one. And do you have a Hales one or just sign one of these?
I have the minutes here.
Okay.
Did Karen give you a warrant for Hales, the tax warrant?
I think so. Hold on.
To approve tonight.
Oh, did she? I don't know. You guys have the tax warrant?
No check. I don't think so.
So they can collect taxes for
Now, who
Hales.
told me? What's today's date?
21st.
Somebody told me over there the 24th, so all that stuff over there is
Oh.
on the 24th.
I'll let them know.
Yeah. It seems strange.
Have you guys had a chance to even look at this yet?
Which one?
The tax warrant for Hales location?
I'm not. First time I'm seeing it.
We do.
Okay, I don't think she sent it out on the email.
Pardon?
I don't think she sent it out on the email. I think she just
No.
printed one.
Bonnie, have you looked at the tax warrant for Hale's location? Have you seen that?
Not in its entirety, no.
Do they need to approve it today, or can it wait till next week?
Let me see if there's a date on it.
I don't know. Karen just had it for them
Oh.
this morning from Denise.
The only date on here is December 20th, so I think we can wait till next.
December 20th.
They'll already signed it.
Is that what taxes are due, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, well, she's already, yeah, she's,
Have the tax bills already gone out,
yes,
right?
she has, yeah,
Oh, okay.
I believe so.
I'll email her in a minute and find out.
So we will just recess, because we're in recess for Hale, so we'll just wait for her to get an answer, and I guess we can have some public comment.
Yes, thank you very much, Fred Kane from Wolfboro. Are we going to have any discussion on the annex and an update on how we're doing? My understanding was that this annex project, everything had to be in and all the i's dotted and t's crossed by the end of December, and we haven't had an update on that. And I also would like to know if the grants and the funds that are coming in, if we've followed all the guidelines to qualify for all these funds and grants.
When decisions are all made, then it will become public. We'll have another public meeting on it. Bonnie, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No?
So everything is in file, we're going to get all the money, and we've followed all the grants. We had a little discussion here among ourselves last week when you're in non-public, and some of these grants, it's our understanding that the bids have to go out and we have to receive 3 bids. And I'm not sure that that happened on some of this. I think they tried to tie it into the cement project, and I'm just wondering if that's going to be an issue here with the county.
No final decisions have been made, but believe me, we will do everything that needs to be done in compliance with all the federal money
By the 31st.
by when the due dates are required.
So bids have gone out to 3 different people?
When we make decisions and we have final answers, everything will be done according to the law.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Hi, my name's Kevin Gould, I live up the street, and I guess must be close to a year now, or maybe even more, I don't know. With the aging process, it's hard to delineate 5 years from 1 year to 2 years. But, no, I hate to play the victim, and I hate to, complain and beat a dead horse, as the saying goes. But I just can't imagine if and I thought Will, who's standing there behind me, I kind of thought he was my friend. He took Alan Seguin's place, but he told me no hay for you. I mean, if you had just sold me hay, But anyways, I think he owes me an apology. Or he should be terminated, I don't know, it's up to you guys. But I think he thought I'd just go home. But I'm having so much fun here. Get to meet Johnny and hang out with Fred. But that's all.
Any other comments? Seeing none? Any word back from Denise?
I just was looking at this, I think this is fine. I will.
So we will go to recess for Hales and go back into our regular scheduled meeting until we get some work into this.
10:09.
The septic grinder building, Will?
Good morning, Commissioners. I had forwarded to Melissa a few days back the email from the electrical company that we're working with on the heater. Not sure, Madam Chairman, if you've got a chance to hear what happened last week, or if you're all caught up with that. Or
I did, but if you'd like to,
just a quick review.
Quick
The heater
review,
went.
please,
The heater went out in the grinder building. It's about 15 years ago. The last time we replaced it. It's going to take up to 8 weeks to get that. The commissioners last week passed to do that, do the emergencies, skipping the process, or however you guys label that, but, so I contacted them last week and got that process moving. In the meantime, I also talked to him about a temporary heat system, because 8 weeks puts us into the middle of January, which can be some cold weather on some years. The email that he sent back, I think you all have it, I shared with you guys, but basically, we're looking at the first month, because of delivery would be, so what they're looking at doing is, we don't have any windows in the building, and there's a garage door, a walk-through door, and there's an intake vent. They can put a temporary heater in the intake vent and pump the heat in through the intake vent temporarily. In order to do that, we have to do a couple things. One, run a line, an electrical line out of the box directly over to plug it into it, and then 2, rent this heater basically and have it set up. The first month would be $2,600. That includes for the rental of the unit, which includes the delivery. The second month would be $1,885, and then $600 for setup on that heater, and then to run the line, we'd have another $1,500. So we're looking at a total of approximately, he said $1,500 should be close. So we're looking at approximately $6,585 to put in temporary heat into that building for the 2 months. So,
Do we have any other options? It seems like a lot of money. If they can't get the part in, they should be responsible or something. Or drive out and get the part.
I don't think it works that way, to be honest with you. I think it's on us, because it's our building, it's our heater. He can only order it when it, these aren't something that are commonly, I asked a question last week that Commissioner McGee asked about, is there other places that, electrical houses that would have them sitting there, and he said, no, this isn't a common type of, because explosion proof is the whole difference in everything. That's what makes everything so expensive. You have all those methane gases coming in there as you have raw sewage flowing through this building. And so it's not something that's common to have. He said, you have to order these. That's what he had, because I said, did we check around, and can we, call some other places? And he says, I checked with all of them, and if we want to go with the same kind of heater that we have, this is what we're
There's no way of, is this thing already made somewhere, it's just sitting someplace, or is it being assembled specifically for here?
I assume with the length of time it's being assembled somewhere for here.
I'm just trying to see if it's
Right.
cheaper to go get the thing and bring it back and save all this
Time.
money that's taking.
Right. I mean, I could ask that question if that's the route we want to go, but I don't know the answer to it. We can gamble and keep hoping the weather's good for a while and see what happens, and then we see 10 days out, oh geez, it's going to get real cold, and then we act on something like this.
What's the temporary heater gonna look like? Is it even outside the building?
Correct.
And it pumps air into?
Correct.
So there's no flame spark or anything?
Correct. Yep. So it's out. There's a intake vent that's at the top of the building, at the top of the wall, right where the eave comes down, and it would be pumping in through that intake and going down into there. And so the electrical box is on the opposite side of the building to where that is, so they'd have to run electrical outlet for it. And it's not obviously just a regular, it's the 20 amp with the 480 volt that they have to plug into. And
You probably don't have a firm date on the replacement, right?
I don't yet know, just 8 weeks is all I was
Just
told.
to answer Bill's question, typically, today nobody builds anything on the sale orders for it. So that's usually why it takes so long to get it, because there's no more warehouses full of stuff anymore like it used to be. So, especially something like this, it's kind of a specialized application.
Just like those little parts we had to order to put on the water meters, we had to wait, almost a month because they don't have them sitting there. It's something, when you order, they build them and send them to you.
So is this the total price, or does this include installation and delivery and everything?
So this price includes, in the email it says,
'Cause I don't have the email. so-
oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought it was in your packet. the first month plus delivery, the second month setup, and then also separate from that is the electric to put a box in to plug this into. And so that includes all those.
So this includes everything.
Right, the only question mark is the $1,500 for the plug, to plug this into. I sent him pictures, he had me go out and take pictures of our box and everything, and he said, $1,500, we should be close. He said, I would put an allowance for $1,500, we should be close, and that's for the power to, a plug-in basically. So that's, by him saying we should be close, I put that as a question mark, that hopefully that's enough. But it's not a firm, but the other are a firm.
So I'm assuming you don't have this in your budget.
I had passed this on to Bonnie. I'm totally confused with what I have and don't have with all these emergencies happening the last several weeks. Last week, talking with Bonnie, she was pretty confident in the 14,000, and then I asked if that's something we're gonna need, because if this doesn't come in until after the new year, if we might be putting that into next year's budget or encumber some funds. We weren't sure about that yet, or I wasn't sure. And then I told her about this as well, and I think there's just a lot of monies that have to be moved around. I'm sure she could speak to it to see where we're all at, but I think she has a better grip on that than I do at this point.
She's shaking her head yes, so,
Yeah.
fine.
We discussed last week that I felt there was enough room in the budget as it stands, creating line item transfers, of course, but to cover that cost.
That was the 14,000 on the new heater we talked about last week.
Yep.
And then you feel the same as with this extra 6,000?
I'd have to look at it again to see, but I think that we can figure it out in this year's budget, FY24's budget. I'm pretty confident about that.
Bill, any more questions?
Parts that you don't use, can we resell it or put it out for bid or do something? I'm just trying to get our money back.
The last heater we had in there lasted about, it was put in 2003 when it was built, and it went out in 2010, so it only lasted about 7 years, and then we put this one in and we got 15 years out of it. It is one of those unfortunate things that it's one of those things in my mind that you balance. It's like, okay, after 10 years, should we just replace it? But if you replace it at 10 years, we still got another 5 years out of it. So it's one of those things, do you just say, you wait till the end of the life and then deal where we are, or do you want to spend more and replace it every so often? So we've kind of always been, the way the county's always kind of went in the past here, is we get our full useful life out of something, and then we look at replacing it. So that's where we're at right now. It doesn't mean we can't change that philosophy in the future if the commissioners decide to, but that's kind of where we're at now.
Questions? No? Fred?
Yes, we're talking about $20,000, and we're talking about putting a temporary unit in, blowing hot air in. Why wouldn't the county look into maybe doing a hot air system, a heat pump, and duct it in there and get away from the explosion-proof heater and the cost of it? There's a lot of houses being built up here in this area now. I'm a property manager to over 130 homes in the region. There's a lot of heat pumps today with today's technology in this cold climate. So if they can do it temporarily, we should be able to do it, permanently, and get away from the explosion-proof motor that you have to wait months to get. I think maybe we ought to be looking into something like that and not having this problem down the road, that anybody can work on the heat pumps and they're not a specialty. Thank you.
Excellent idea, Fred.
No, ma'am, that was all I had to see. I guess if we want to, it's just something you guys want to decide. If you want to wait a little while, I guess that's on your guys' opinion of what we wanted to do, but
How much lead time do they need to do this?
I don't know. I was thinking, I know it took them last time to come out with the, to look out. We were about a week and a half out to get them out on their schedule when they evaluated the heater the first time. So I was guessing around then put that temporary line in, and I would think the others would line up right about that time from the sounds.
Yeah, have we got another week to think about this?
Looking in the long range, I mean, we are going below,
Below
there's
zero.
We're going below
well,
30.
freezing, but that building's insulated, and you got warmth coming from the methane gas, if you will, so I'm not real concerned until we start getting down into the low 20s at night, you know, or even teens at night, then I would be a little bit more concerned. But I think where we're at right now, looking at the 10 days, that I'm not too concerned. I think most of the nights are still gonna be fairly, we might be below freezing, but still in the upper 20s, low 30s.
And what are we, 60 days out on the replacement?
Yeah, so last week, I think he ordered it, and we were 60 days at that point, so we were a little bit less than, so. So I think, I mean, I think we're okay at this point. It's just it's something we definitely need to keep watching the weather on.
Watch the long-range forecast too. I mean, they project out a ways.
Right.
We've got to react. I mean, that's the key. If they can react within a week or so.
Yeah, and I can confirm that. I can give them a shout today,
Yeah, ask them that.
lead time on it, how quickly we can react. Okay.
Can anything be rebuilt? After that you're doing that, we just haven't brought somewhere to rebuild it? It's like it needs coils, or I don't know what's needed.
I don't know that question. I kind of feel that it doesn't. When he was testing it, it was getting, not where it's supposed to get hot, it was getting hot, where the wires came in with the right voltages, and it just seemed like it was, you know, from his perspective, the guy that was out here, it was fried. And the fact that we had to keep resetting it, you know, probably a good indication of that as well. So I don't think it's something that they just rebuild. I know the last one, when we did it, it was, we just had to replace the whole unit.
We'll give you a decision next week.
Okay, and I'll get a lead time on that to keep you guys updated on that as well. Yeah,
Thank you, William.
Thank you.
Anything else?
that should be it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Connie, since you're here, do you want to, you ready to do, go over the budget?
Madam Chair, I have the sheriff's coming over at 10:30 for the budget, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know who else was coming over at 10:30.
Can they go to the signing of the BAS contract?
If you want to do that first.
Yeah, I don't have it. I mean, I
It's
don't have
before
any
the
information
budget.
on it, so.
I'll print another copy.
Oh, wait a minute here.
We got it last week.
I don't- So, do you gentlemen have any questions on it, or you guys discussed it last week, I'm assuming?
We really didn't. We postponed it. I mean, I read it. I don't really have any questions.
So we can have Tom's here, so you can probably answer any questions on it you might have.
There's actually a decrease this year
Yeah, I
of
saw
a
that.
couple $100,000, right? And this is the annual contract that is signed every year. And it helps supplement the nursing home, the elderly per diem fees that we're required to pay. It's an annual contract and we pay monthly in a prorated basis. There are credits that come back to us throughout the year that help offset it, but there is this annual contract that we're required to pay. And it's through the Bureau of Adult and Aging Services.
You have any questions?
It just seems like everything we have to do, you know, deadlines.
I know.
Costs a lot of money.
Yep. Yep. We really don't have much choice.
No,
So-
there's no choice,
There's no-
right? There is no choice.
Make a motion that we would, since we don't have a choice.
It is nice, though, that it went down, because that doesn't normally happen.
So motion to accept, is that what?
Yes.
Yep.
Second.
And could you authorize the chair to sign, please?
Authorize the chair to sign.
There's only one signature on it.
Oh, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Is there anything else on the agenda we can do, Melissa? I think it would be good for you to hear from Dominic on the CBA and
I think it would.
prior to
I think it would.
finalizing some subjects on the budget.
I don't have anything else in the meantime.
Hey, Melissa, just a quick one. Did we send out the ARP yet? Or the hay lease? It's in.
No. No,
We haven't published it yet.
no. I need the commissioners to look at it before it goes out, because there was some discussion about how much detail should be in it, and I didn't feel comfortable sending it out without consensus from the board.
Is there any general questions that you have on the budget that I could just answer or try to help you with?
Well, you just keep it down.
I've squeezed it as tight as I could.
I know. Actually, considering we didn't go up last year, I think, or even the year before, did we? Or maybe-
We did go the year before. We kept it equal from 23 to 24. And considering we have a 6.5% increase in the budget, I'm keeping the tax increase or projecting at 5%. So it did go up a little bit from the original, but
Revenue's up 6.5, right?
Yeah.
yeah. But I only am my proposal is to increase taxes 5%. So our overall budget is up 6.5%.
It's going to go over well with the delegation.
We'll find out. I don't think so. I think that they're going to want to try to get it down, but I don't think they have had a look at it yet, so they really don't know. Most of it's salaries. Any questions, Bill?
No, I had a couple, but I.
When is Dominic coming over?
We should be here any minute.
Okay.
Yep.
One subject that did come up, just came up this morning, is in speaking with the registrar. She had given me a projection of revenue based on where we were and where we are in '24. And she feels that we are going to meet in '24, or it will be extremely close. So extremely close, let me change the wording, to what we're projecting for '25. And, you know, we look at that, whether we're gonna go down 10%, down 15%, down 20%, but right now the budget is what she originally projected, which is basically gonna be 100% of what she thinks she's gonna attain in '24. So the question is, do we want to modify that down by 10% or leave it as is? So we're talking probably about a $100,000 swing.
I noticed we left the hay at the same for revenue this year, even though we only did 16,000.
Well, I did speak with DPW about that, department head, and he felt that a lot of the sales, which is true, happen this time of year, November, December, and that may, let me just look at the financials, I have them through today, see if that's changed any.
We're at 55% of budget so far.
Yeah. So as of today, we're at 18,000 out of the 30. So 62%. So I did question him on that, and he felt we should leave it where we had it, because he thought we'll be very close.
Brian, do you have anything while we're waiting?
Just observing.
You're just observing, okay.
Good morning.
We're just waiting for you. Come on up.
Go sit down.
Where I'm at.
Good morning.
Okay, where you want to start?
Where do you want to start?
Wherever you want to start. Congratulations to you all. I guess with the dispatch budget, is that where you want to start?
Okay.
You want to go line by line, or how would you prefer?
I don't think there were any questions from the commissioners, so probably an overview would be fine, and probably tie that into the contract.
So, there's not much changes other than salaries, per se, and any salary line item, obviously. This would be due to the contract that's proposed, and what that is doing is, there's 3 different tiers of raises for the first year. It is a proposed 3-year contract. The first year, anyone who has 10 years or more would be a 14% raise. Under 10 years would be 20%. And the ones who are just hired, basically 1 year, would be 18%. And then the second and third year would be 5% across the board for raises. And that is the biggest change in the dispatch. Obviously, competition is great. We have gone up and down with hiring dispatchers. Currently, we have 2 in training and 1 under 1 year. We have a projected opening coming up in January as one of the dispatchers would be vying for a deputy position.
I know it's a hard job.
So, in the area, obviously, your competition is Conway and Wolfboro. They currently are paying more. And around the state, there's all kinds of bonuses being given. So, I think what we have right now is a good crew, and I'd like to keep them.
Who was our, Bill, you were,
Just gonna say something.
go right ahead.
It was, the negotiations going back and forth with think went very well. And it was a give and take situation, and, which was good, and it all boils down to retention of people,
Yes.
because everybody jumping around, and it costs a lot to train somebody or to get somebody new on board, to entice them to come on and stay.
Yes. Yeah, it is a 24-hour job, so to find people that want to work overnights has been tough, and shift work, obviously. But we've done it without retention bonuses, so we've been fortunate to find people to apply, first of all, and then to get through the about 14-week training program.
So the justification is retention
And-
equivalent of other, or equal to other places?
Yep.
Because everybody's gonna look at this and go, it's a huge number. So
No, it is,
It's a huge number. And I gotta tell you, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, no.
I get the part about you don't wanna wake up some morning and not have anybody working here, but it's a huge number. And everybody else is gonna look at this and go, okay, if we got 20% or 14%, then everybody's gonna wanna jump on the bandwagon. So I mean, it's a
No,
big,
it is.
it's a big number.
Prior to this, we were under a 3-year contract during the COVID period, which kind of stifled. We did do a slight market increase for the dispatch, and we're still behind, way behind. So,
Way behind other,
other dispatch centers. So I think it is needed. If we don't, you will see people leave, there's no doubt. And that job is not for anyone at all. I would not want to do it. And again, it's hard to find people that are going to stay and do it.
how long does it take you to train
The
somebody?
pension
How long
is
does it take you to train somebody?
about 14 weeks. Yep.
It's pretty significant.
Yep. Yes, and these trainers are our own dispatchers that have seasoned, that can do that. There is a 3-day program they have to go down to Concord to become certified, but that's the only certification at this point. We are looking into certifying trainers, but so to train these people for 14 weeks, you are shadowing them. So the dispatcher, the seasoned dispatcher has to monitor them constantly. It's added pressure to them on a pressure job already. So there is burnout. We have had people that say they don't want to participate in that training any longer. So again, to keep the people is a necessity. So we can't keep turning over. In the last few years, we have turned over I don't have the total, but it's been a large number of personnel in dispatch.
So when they complete the 14 weeks, they're basically free to go anywhere else they want.
Yes, yes. But most of the ones we have lost haven't completed the training.
Just because of the nature of the job.
Yeah, yeah. To get into it and they realize it's not for them.
I don't know where we go from here. It's just,
I think this is a significant step to leveling off. Obviously, all your towns that you are representing, their pay is up there. So my thought, it has to level off somewhere. The country can't keep.
well, I mean, we're gonna become the NBA and the NFL here. Everybody, this guy makes $1 million, so this guy wants $3 million. And realistically, I mean, I see it. I'm in Molten Borough as a selectman, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, everybody's going to the county because they pay more money. And then, so we raise our prices to get everybody, and the thing just keeps escalating to the point. I don't know where the end is, but as you just said, it can't continue on forever.
No, and I know that. And,
I mean, it can't.
I think if we don't do this step, we will be in trouble.
Dispatch is
The
definitely,
largest town we were 5 persons. and that almost crippled us where we could not. We were paying overtime constantly. So, and again, that burns out all the people too, so. I don't want to
I
be.
would have been
in that
happier to see it incrementally done over the 3 years versus a lot of it up front. But you're closer to it than I am.
position. Yeah, I think it's needed that first year jump. Otherwise, if we lose 2, 3 people, we're in trouble. Because you're not, someone's not gonna come here knowing that the county wasn't willing to step up and pay that rate. If they can get it around the corner.
A year from now, we'll know if we can retain the people or.
I'm gonna make a motion in favor of the expenditure.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So hopefully you aren't gonna lose anybody.
Yep, if we do, it would hopefully just be because of training.
You'll be in dispatch.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next?
The sheriff's side of the budget. So, again, if we go right to the wages, the contract is the major push on that. And it's very similar. We lost 2 deputies this year to local towns, Sandwich and Tuftonboro,
Really?
for pay.
Even though the job is significantly, better here, no? No
That
nights,
depends who you
no
talk.
nights, no
I think
weekends,
I
no-
think it's better. There is weekends, there is nights. Some of your local PDs are skirting around that a little bit, but, promising better hours. But is what it is. But yes, the pay is different. OSIP has also offered some of the deputies $5 more an hour right to start. So
Now, our deputies are certified,
all the deputies
all
are
the deputies are certified. Well, that's obviously what they want. They don't want to send people to the academy, so if they can pooch other people, it makes their lives a lot easier.
Yes, it's always been that way in Carroll County,
Yeah.
but it's predominant right now as far as, those are big jumps. So the pay on the wages for deputies, the first year, 10 years plus would be 14%, and under 10 years would be 20%. Most of our deputies are 10 years plus. And then the second and third years, again, would be 5% across the board.
Any comments on that? As you were?
Again, same thing, I think the negotiations went well, and it was a give and take situation, and trying to think about the cost of bringing somebody new on board and training and everything else as a factor that was discussed. So I'm gonna vote, or make a motion that we accept this.
Okay.
If I could.
You may.
So, in January, I proposed one of the new hires. We currently have 2 open positions for deputies, unfilled. One of them we're hoping to pull from dispatch. He will have to go to the academy. So obviously, that is going to be on the low end of the pay scale. But this is my first person that I will have to send to the academy since I've been here. And that's where we're at.
What's the price of that now? 10,
It's
12,000 for the academy?
It's you pay your hourly rate for them for the 16 weeks. So, and that person will be signing a 3-year contract once the legal team okays that, which should have no problem with. So we will have him for 3 years. But, again, that's where we're at. All around the state, they're paying bonuses. There is one town, I think up north, that's paying a $30,000 sign-on bonus. I think it's prorated over a couple of years, but, and several are paying $20,000. So, we don't want to get there. I don't think we can, so.
Do they require any kind of commitment to do that? They must, is it paying sign?
Yes, I think they're paid over 2 or 3 years. They get, $10,000 a year or whatever. And if you saw, the state did it with monies they had.
I'll second those ones.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Any other questions?
In the budget, just for clarification, the budget, the 2025 budget reflects that, those CBA numbers, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Any other special questions? The cruiser line, again, we talked about Dodge is not making the sedans any longer. They're hoping to come out next year. So in the budget, you'll see $50,000 for a 1 cruiser purchase, if we do it. That would most likely be a Ford Explorer. And increase in the court bailiff line. I'm asking to increase it to 160. Revenue is going to be at 140. That's line 11. So I'm asking the county to raise $20,000 in addition to what they're paid per diem.
Now that's to go get people to.
That's to be a bailiff over at the courthouse.
Courthouse, okay.
They do carry a firearm. They have arrest powers in the courthouse. But, again, it's a position that is hard to find people. The crew that we, again, have over there is very good.
How many do you have over there now?
There is a total of 10.
10.
So this would figure an additional $20 a day, that $20,000.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Sure, what else you might want to...
So normally, the sheriff asks for 2 cruisers in capital, and
Right.
this year he's just down to 1, but also 10,000 for the tasers, correct?
Yes, and that is probably an incorrect number, I was told by my firearms persons. $10,000 would probably buy us half of the tasers that we will need to outfit the 12 deputies. The tasers that we're carrying right now are obsolete. They don't repair them, and they're on their last leg. We would turn those tasers over to make available for the bailiffs. Right now, there's not enough to go around for the bailiffs. So we would swap those over. Any additional ones that we have left over, it is possible we may be able to get some kind of money for them.
What actually goes
It won't
back
be
with
very
those
little.
batteries?
Batteries, you do have to replace, and they just break down, they're plastic. And again, Axon's not fixing them.
Supporting them.
Right. The new ones are an upgrade, you know, to several shots instead of one. But the prices we're looking at, you would have to get new holsters and everything for them because like cell phones, they don't, you know, change over when they build the new ones. So, prices we got would be about $20,000 to outfit 12 deputies with the holster and
So I have a question. We have
Is that the 97 line?
capital.
it's a capital.
Oh, you got it, the capital, right?
Yep. So we still have considerable amount left in the sheriff's budget in the vehicle expense line and some left in the firearm training equipment line. Would it, with your projections through the end of the year, would it be possible to purchase some of the taser equipment this year?
Unlikely. The firearm line, the ammo is usually ordered at the end of the year, so they have not done that.
Okay.
That's most of that cost. Obviously, any leftover, we could look at that if there is some.
Okay.
The vehicle line, we still have bills coming in, and I think we still have at least 2 more fuel bills coming in,
Okay.
which those are between $3,000 and $4,000 a month.
Okay. So right now on the vehicle line, we have about 25,000 left. So we,
So yes, if
There
there
is
is,
some.
we could look into holding over some of that funds, if possible.
just a thought.
Yep. And I know I do have a couple lines that are currently over, so
Okay.
we'll have to do a transfer next month.
Okay. Question?
So how much money is?
Currently proposed is $10,000, and that would do half the group. If we,
With leftover money from the last one, how much are we talking about, 20?
You mean from this current year budget, you
Yes.
mean? I don't know. I mean, I just was throwing that out as a, because we still have 2 months' worth of expenses, and it sounds like there's some, you know, significant bills still coming in. So I don't have an answer for you on that right now.
so if we could propose $20,000 in anything that we are able to fund at the end of the year, we can have the delegation reduce that if need be, if that's an option.
I'll go with, I'll make a motion and we accept it as presented.
Is that the 10 or the?
So you want the, I was just gonna say that, are we doing the 10 or the 20?
Good question.
I would ask that it be raised to $20,000. It is a capital fund, so the delegation could reduce that if we have the information that we've already, we're able to come up with, say, $10,000.
Doesn't seem to make sense to do only half of them. Yeah, I would go for 20,000.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say
For 20,000, all in favor? Yeah, aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you. Any other special?
Well, do you have anything else?
No. Did you want any more information on the contract, or we doing that differently?
I don't need any more information.
Melissa?
Madam Chair, typically you vote to ratify the contract if you're ready. Does it have to be done this week, Sheriff, or can they have some more time with it if they need it?
I'm okay.
Yes, they can have more time.
Do you need more time? My questions were all on the salary line, so just.
Yeah, that's basically it, I mean,
So I don't know.
no, I looked at, I mean,
Yeah.
I read it.
As presented.
Okay. Bill made the motion as presented.
Did anybody have a question? I got a question.
We're in the middle of the vote, so I'll ask him.
I can withdraw my motion if that's, I can put you on the spot.
Fred?
Yes, for the public that's here and watching, is it possible you tell us what the budget is for this year for the sheriff and what it's projected for next year, so we have an idea of, those are big numbers we're talking, and I just think that maybe it'd be clarification if it was announced the amounts for this year and next year's budget.
Bonnie?
Yep.
would like to?
So for the sheriffs, last year's budget was $2,222,213. The proposed this year is $2,503,692. For dispatch, prior year was $1,108,989. Proposed is $1,211,169. So approximately $103,000 increase in dispatch and about $280 in the sheriff's,
Thank you very much.
approximately.
Okay, would you like to?
Bring the motion up.
Motion again?
Yeah, bring the motion up again, accept it.
Did you say second? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Clean copy of the contract. Commissioners can sign.
Maybe you should make salary, yeah, you should
Was dead on. Okay, so I added the longevity, some of it, so that was off, fixed the retirement. Yep.
What contract is up next year? I think it's the.
Corrections.
Yeah, corrections. I did them last time. Environment needs to supplement.
Do you want to take this with you then? Sure. So we get the unions to sign? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Vaughn, what's next?
Okay, so are there any outstanding questions on the budget? I just made that one change and have a final number for
No,
you.
it didn't change a lot from the last one.
If the delegation decides to spend less, how does that go since we've signed contracts to go with it? They can't be changed.
Yes, the delegation can, appropriate the money.
Yeah, the delegation also has to vote to ratify the contract, so it's not technically set yet until they do that.
I mean, if this thing goes, if it continues to escalate, you're just gonna have to talk about cutting back on the services somehow. That's what's gonna end up happening. I'm not sure how feasible that is. But we're gonna have to take a long, hard look at everything at some point and say, how much of this is really, what can we not do? I'm not sure there is anything, but I think at some point you're gonna have to look at this and say,
Well, you don't have, there's only 3 things that we have to do, I believe. There's
nursing home.
no,
I'm having trouble hearing what you're
I
speaking.
said, we only have 3 things that were mandated. We have to have the sheriff's department. And we don't have to have a house of corrections. We don't have to have a nursing home. We have to have the registry, I believe.
What were the 3 things then?
I believe it's the registry, the sheriff's department, and the county attorney. Everything else, I mean, that's all that's in the county constitution, I believe.
Sorry, we're mandated by state to have the house of state law to have the house of corrections.
I don't know, Brian, I thought we only had to have a holding house for overnight. We
Well,
don't have to have a house of corrections, but we do have to
we
have a
have to have a
holding
jail,
cell.
I guess. We have to have a place for prisoners to go before they're shipped elsewhere.
Shipped, yeah.
So,
We don't have to have, yeah.
the finer parts, I guess.
So,
We can't close the doors and say we're out of the
No,
prison
no.
business.
we have to have a place for.
What happens if we wanted to charge those coming from out of the area, whatever towns send them here, whatever counties? Do we have a say in that, whether we'll accept?
Yeah, they already paid, they already did that.
Yeah, but could we raise it?
Sure,
Charge
and
what we're
they
gonna do?
wouldn't
Is that
send
a
us
contract
anybody.
that they-
We could
Right.
raise it to whatever we want, but they're not gonna send it if we raise it, I think it's $53 a day now and change. If we raised it to 85 or 100, they just wouldn't send us anybody, so we'd kind of put ourselves out of business. So, that's always a fine line. I know it does come up every couple of years, but it's a tough line that I don't think we want to walk.
Yeah, so it's, what do you want, what can you cut out as, what do you want to cut out, the nursing home or the,
You can't go to nursing
no,
home.
so, and
Can't
that's,
Well, I don't know, you look at the sheriff's department, what's their coverage, I mean, do they cover every single place, I mean, I don't know. You have to do a study and look at it and say, what is feasible, what is, I mean, right now, we're just going along with the status quo, what we've always done, but it's getting very expensive to do it, so.
Do the rates go up for the people coming from out of the area? From another county? Do we then increase it because the budget's increasing?
I believe they're,
Always something we could look at, for sure. I'm just not sure that the other counties are gonna agree to it, and they're just gonna stop sending us any revenue. Is the problem that it could create. Now, if it's a buck or two, maybe they'll be willing to do that, but if it's a significant $10, $15, $20 a day cost, they're probably gonna say, thanks, but no thanks, we don't have to send you anybody. And that's obviously not something we wanna do, because we roughly about $150,000 a year in revenue from that, so, it's again, a tight thing that we probably don't wanna mess with too much, because we
didn't
could
we
shoot
just
ourselves in
raise
the
them?
foot.
Didn't we just raise them last year or the year before?
I don't know, I wasn't a part of that, but
I think-
possibly.
I think we did, not much, but they were raised in the last,
Well, you've got the corrections CPA coming up next year, right?
yep.
And I'm hoping, I'm not sitting here next year looking at 10 and 20% raises, because I'm not gonna be too happy about that. So somewhere between now and the time we do this, we're gonna take a good hard, long look at this and say, what's it gonna cost us, what are we paying, what are we getting, and how much of it do we actually have to do? So that's all I can tell you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Commissioner, I think that's the direction we're headed in, just because of as of right now, prelims on contracts that have gone through are getting $6 and $7 an hour raises. Now, obviously, we don't have the tax base that some of these places do, however, we're gonna have to be somewhere in the middle of that to stay competitive and keep people. That's what allowed us to get back to full staff with this latest contract. So, I hear you and I understand, but we're gonna,
Well, I mean, the post-social security recipients are getting 2.8% raises each year. The
Yeah.
average social security check is at $1,787. So they're getting $45 a month, and everybody else is getting 10% raises, 20% raises. And I get the shortage, and we're fighting for people, but it's not, you can't just sit here and go, yeah, okay, that's what we have to do. We gotta work harder at this, we gotta try harder, and we've gotta look at what we do and say, is there anything else we can do? I'm not saying there is, but we have to at least look at it and try and make some effort to rein this thing in.
I agree, I'm on board completely.
Anything else, Bonnie?
Nope.
No?
Who's that?
So would you like some final numbers with that $10,000 addition for the tasers? Okay. So we are now at for context, prior year FY24 budget was $39,633,632. It is proposed at $42,222,594, which is a 6.53% increase. To balance the budget, we have proposing to increase the county taxes 5%. Between 23 and 24, the county taxes were level. This would increase the county taxes, but also proposing to increase the use of the county's fund balance up to 11.28% of total revenue, which would balance the budget. Last year, we proposed in the budget $3,983,376 of fund balance. This year, it will be $4,432,514. And that does fall within the county's policy for use of fund balance.
Questions, comments, gentlemen?
No.
Bonnie, to make sure I'm looking at this correctly, the corrections revenue for next year is going to be $151,000?
The what? I'm sorry.
Corrections revenue is going to be $151,000?
Correct. They reduced it this year, based on what happened during FY24.
Our current revenue to date is $147,000, and our projected to make it for this year's 2024 fiscal year is probably about another $5,000. So I felt comfortable at that 151 for next year, that we can actually make a real number. The $210,000 for 2024 was not a viable number. I have no idea why it was put out there, but I'm confident this year will.
You answered my question. I know you weren't here. I know you weren't in charge of it. So
No.
I don't expect you to answer it, but okay.
But I'm just, that's why it is, because we're close to that 150 now, and we should be just over it.
So, because I wasn't here last week, the nursing home has gone down. Is there a particular?
Let's see. Are you talking about in revenue or, no, revenue has gone up. In speaking with the nursing home administrator, he calculated a figure for vacancy positions, which is lower than what it has been in the past.
Oh, that's good.
So that's really the majority of it. And all the associated benefits, payroll taxes, insurances.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Is that taking into consideration filling any vacancies we might have?
Oh yes, there's a number in there for vacancies, it's just a lower projection than what it has been in the past, which decreased that obligation, yeah.
Any further questions? Okay.
Yes, does the CFO have a total of what was spent on agency almost to the end of November now?
No, because we get all of the invoices probably 2 to 3 weeks in arrears. But I can tell you what is posted as of today.
Thank you very much.
If you just bear with me a second. It'll take a minute to run the report, so
Thank you very much.
when I get it, I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll be requesting a copy from the executive coordinator. Printout. Thank you.
Got another question?
Yes.
Madam Chair, could I ask a question?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here listening, and it takes me back to when I stepped in to take Chuck's seat when the delegation was out here, and they asked me one question, which was, what if we came and said, cut 10% out of your budget, what would you do? And I said, oh, I would go to the department heads. And I remember Chuck saying something different. So I wonder if that still stands true. If they come back and say, cut 10%, are you gonna do it? Like, across the board?
But if the delegation tells us to do that, that's what we have to do. They actually.
Well, I'm gonna ask them to do that when they have their next meeting, because I think the government's bloated and inefficient, and we've got too much of everything. And nothing ever seems to go down. So I was just wondering if that was the case, because after thinking about it, he's right. We just have to cut it.
Well, it all comes down to a matter of what level of service you want to provide. That's what it comes down to, how much you're willing to pay to do it.
And I understand that.
And that's really what it comes down to. Right this minute, we're doing a level of service that is what it is, and you can always cut it, but then is that in the best interest of the residents of Carroll County? And
Well,
we can't cut for the sake of cutting, but I would like to see us level off the increases if we can.
well, I'm sorry, but I sit on another budget committee, and I also see this happening, and not just here, in the towns as well,
Everywhere.
and at the state, and people cannot afford it. And so we have to cut it somewhere and at some point, and it's not gonna be easy. It's probably gonna be painful for everybody, and they're not gonna like it.
Well, unfortunately, nobody's figured out a way to do that, because the state doesn't go down, the Fed doesn't go down, nobody goes down, so it's not.
Well, there's,
I don't think that means you shouldn't try. It's-
right, there's only one way
it's
to
just a
actually do
question
it.
of-
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep talking, but just, and I know it's not anything anybody wants to do, but it probably our only solution.
Lon, what's the total, the figure, is that the one we're gonna be voting on?
For the budget,
Yeah.
can I answer?
Yes?
Fritz? Okay. 1 week has been posted in November, that's all we've received so far. 2,578,113.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, final number, 42,222,594.
Do we have more questions, or do we want to go ahead and take this vote?
When do we have to have this wrapped up by? When's the delegation meeting, the 9th?
No, we
Ninth,
have
but
to,
it needs to be mailed out next
next,
next Wednesday.
yeah, the 27th, it has to go out.
We have too many choices. Wish we did. I'm gonna cut every department. How does that work? I think it was 1%. I don't know.
trying to do?
You need to vote on
We
the
need to
budget.
vote on the bottom line.
Well, honestly, a 6% increase or 6.5 isn't the end of the world. I mean, it's not, compared to what's happening out there, I can tell you there'd be a lot of places that'd be happy with a 6% increase. I mean, just the numbers keep going up, and I'd like to see that spot up. But
Yeah, I mean, and things that people have to put in perspective is we kept the taxes between 23 and 24 level. If we would do a little bit every year, that 5% increase that we're seeing now in the taxes could have been, let's just say 2.5, right? So we have to keep in mind that we're increasing for a longer period of time than 1 year. So 2 years, basically, increase in taxes.
And how many union contracts do we do? Are they all at the same year, or are they,
No.
there's a 3-year one and a 2-year?
Yes.
No, they're all 3 now.
They're all 3-year contracts, and there's one every year.
corrections is next.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
The part of the budget that contains the outside agencies, have we finalized those numbers for the outside agency expenditures?
The commissioners have created a budget for those, yes.
I just don't remember that being talked about. I remember they were presented. Are they just agreeing on the numbers that the applicants came in with, or has that been changed? Because I don't recall that happening.
There's changes to the applications that came in. Because remember, we are, per the county policy, are confined to a 2% of the county budget as a cap. And then there's other considerations that need to be taken into account.
I just don't recall a discussion of those changes with those applications. That's all. Unless I missed something. That's my comment.
Okay.
Yes, also, I don't remember we discussing the nonprofits. They did come in and talk about what they'd like, but I don't remember any discussion with the board here in what we're giving them and, going through one by one on it. Has that been done?
Yes, that's all part of the budget, but it's the same exact process as we follow for all the departments. And so the budget is put together, it's presented to the commissioners to vote on based on all the individual line items. We don't go through every line item of the budget.
Right, but in the nonprofits, each one asks for a certain percentage, and I thought there'd be some discussion with the board whether they're gonna give them, 150,000 or 50,000, and how do we know as the public, because that's our money that they're distributing, and some of these nonprofits go to the different towns, which you had asked, and one of the ladies said here she thought that was double dipping, and I just think that that should be done here in front of us, the taxpayers, so we know how we're spending money, not after it's already decided.
I only brought that up because last year we had a screenshot of the schedule of the amount that was going to be expended, and then you just basically, so I'm assuming that there's a number there. Can I at least have a printout perhaps of what each one got and what that final number was?
Of course.
I understand you have a policy to, they get a certain percentage, but I just wanted the breakdown, because I think there's many on right now watching, wonder that. Thank you.
Yep.
And we also sent one to me, right now? Thank you.
I'll share it.
If I could, rather than piecing it out, I believe the budget will be available after you take this vote.
Right, so you can go online.
It's in it, right?
Yep, it's in the budget.
It's in the budget, it's listed in the budget.
Thank you.
Who's getting what.
Okay.
Set? You need a motion? Why does it have to be me?
I'll make the motion to accept the budget. The 2025 proposed budget in the amount of, run that number by me again,
Here,
Ron.
I got it.
I got it somewhere there.
40, that
$42,222,594.00.
Correct.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Okay.
on to the delegation. I'm sure they'll be picking it apart. Okay,
Now, if they pick it apart and they come back to us, I don't remember, I don't remember, what happens then? Say they cut it by, I don't know, $100,000. Then it's up to us to find it, or do they find it?
Well,
Well, they're gonna come in and be corrections officers.
they'll pick it apart. There's usually, they pick on certain departments normally.
It gets, during the process, it will get down to the specific line item
Yep.
and making the dollar change, and
Right then
they'll
and there.
they'll vote on it, and it'll be done right then and there.
Okay?
I mean, realistically, it's just a matter of going over the budget, and they're entitled to challenge us on what we did.
Of course.
And we're entitled to defend what we did, and then it's for everybody to decide.
Each department head will come in and, field questions with the delegation and as to why or certain increases took place, and the delegation will ask them if they can decrease any particular line item, and, they'll end at a certain spot.
So they'll have a figure in mind when they come in.
They didn't cut a lot last year,
No.
that I remember.
There wasn't much to cut, I mean,
All right, so when they cut, if they were to cut, maybe we'll add more, then it then comes back to, that's the final decision, or is it?
no,
That's
that's the
it.
final decision. It's theirs.
Okay.
Okay. Is Linda here to see us, or is she just non-public?
For non-public.
Okay.
And to answer any questions on the budget, but the budget's approved.
Yeah.
Which is now the delegation's budget when
It's
it's
now the
handed to
delegation's,
them.
correct.
So before, just for clarification, before I release it for publication, I will fill in the column of proposed commissioners, and the figures are updated, actuals through September. And then later on, when the delegation gets it, it will be more current figures. Okay?
Are you gonna add another column to that? Oh, you got it right here.
Yep.
Well, on the revenue side, you got the increase, but on the expense side,
Yeah, I think that got cut off
You
when
got cut off, yeah.
Yeah, when I
Okay, is it
did the
in there?
landscape, it
Okay.
is in there, yeah, I'll make sure it's.
I can do the math. but
I'll
it's
reformat
tedious.
it, yeah, no, I'll reformat it, so it all fits.
Okay,
So I guess we can go into non-public. What is it under?
I have A and C.
A and C?
Make a motion to go into non-public. And these are A and C, okay. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected has a right to the meeting, and two, request that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. The exemption shall extend to any application for assistance, tax abatement, or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on the inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. I'll make a motion, do we make a motion?
Yep.
do we know what we're going into?
I don't know what.
Okay, all right.
Roll call,
Second, yeah,
Roll call vote?
okay. Nelson, yes. McGee?
yes.
McCarthy?
Yes.
11:24.
Because we'll have to come back. So here, what do you think from Denise?
Nothing yet. I'll open this back up when we get in here. I did go, can I see that for a second? I did go on to the DRA website. Was trying to remember the numbers I saw in here. I'll look at it again while we're in there.
You get a house on Loudon?
All goes well, this is my last meeting, I'll be a resident of Loudon, December 5th, I think. So, all 3 properties are under contract, so,
Oh, the other one is too?
yeah.
That's a nice house.
What's that?
That's a nice house, the one in Tuftonboro. That's a
Yeah.
nice piece of property. How many acres?
What's that?
How many acres in Tuftonboro?
13.
13.
It's kind of close to Moultonboro, I don't know.
It's very close.
Not close enough, though. You don't get the $6 tax rate.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to shut it off because it just said reconnecting and it never did. I don't know. What's going on?
12:58.
Yeah, but you were close.
But Mark, this is something. Can you, Melissa, can you call over here and see if they'll let us come over?
Okay.
Or maybe we could order something now?
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Need a motion to come out of non-public and seal the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
12:59.
12:59. And we will go into recess until we have to wait. We have a non-meeting with our attorneys at 2.
Thank you.
We could probably go over there, give us something to eat.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Stay